Ladies and gentlemen, the show will begin in 5 minutes. Please locate your seats and silence any electronic devices.
When I was a child, they sensed there was something wrong because they could hear this strong noise coming from my chest. I remember the day of the operation in the operating room, and I looked up and it was all these men looking down. There was students, and I remember the nurses and the anesthesiologist. And then the next thing you know, when I woke up, I was in a crib.
And I said, Dr. Blaylock, I stand in awe and admiration of your surgical skill. But the really great day will come when you build me a ductus for a cyanotic child, and not when you close a ductus for a child who had a little too much blood going to the lung. And he gave a sigh. He really thought he'd done something. Then he said to me, when that day comes, this will seem like child's play.
In 1955, this 7-year-old girl was carried into the heart hospital by her parents for intracardiac correction of the tetralogy of Fallot defects.
And the revelation that open heart surgery could be carried out with a few lengths of plastic tubing, some clamps, and some oxygen had an explosive effect on the growth of open heart surgery worldwide.
Prior to the development of this technique by Dr. Rashkin and his associate, Dr. William Miller, dangerous heart surgery was the only course available for the 3,000 to 4,000 babies born each year in the U.S. with this defect.
Now that's the balloon being inflated in the left auricle. Now that's maximum inflation, and I'm going to pull it back into the right auricle now. And you see that was the world's fastest operation.
Megan Adams Roswick was born with half a heart. Without medical intervention, the condition is 100% fatal.
Also had a baby born with half a heart faces a 100% chance of death.
Given no chance to live, but here is a phenomenal story.
It's a matter of life or death for some. At least it was for Megan Roswick.
He said that this is the single worst defect that a child can be born with.
If you imagine that this truly is just abnormal plumbing, then we've got a structural problem, and structural problems lend themselves to structural solutions, reorganizing the plumber. So the people that reorganize structure generally are surgeons.
And then, of course, Bill did fantastic stuff. It was tough because he did not have that enthusiastic following by the cardiologists, to put it mildly, for that thing about the hypoplasty. And it was tough, and he fought it through. And he had different, there were different approaches. Initially, they didn't work out and so on, but finally he succeeded.
Good evening, everyone. A 14-day-old baby girl is fighting for her life tonight after receiving the heart of an infant baboon.
It has never been done before, not successfully, and not on a patient so small.
Doctors praised the so far successful transplanting of a baboon heart into the body of a baby girl who was certain to die.
My options that were given to me were, you can leave her here and let her die, you can take her to Barstow Hospital and let her die, or you can take her home and let her die.
I became deeply impressed with the fact that we'd seen a number of babies with incurable heart disease, incorrectable heart disease, babies in whom you could only experiment surgically with. And it impressed me that what those babies needed really was heart replacement.
I think Baby Faye's legacy has to do with the hundreds of babies that are now alive who would not be on our planet without her experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin. Please locate your seats and silence any electronic devices. Ladies and gentlemen, Professors Jeff Jacobs and Gil Wernovsky would like to welcome you to your 2023 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery. Please take your seats. The program will now begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Dr. Jeff Jacobs, Professor of Surgery and Pediatrics at the University of Florida and co-chair of your 2023 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Washington, D.C. I have to admit this is a little bit overwhelming. Tonight's a very special night, and it is a fact that the World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery is truly the Olympics of our profession. So to get started, I thought we asked the question, why are we here? And I think that's something that's worth thinking about a little bit. And we're really here to make life better for our patients and their families, and to advance the state of art and science for pediatric and congenital cardiac care. We've tried to create a very special program for all of you tonight that will show the basic setup and structure of our meeting over the next 5 days, and also to share with you some uniquely American experiences, jazz music, later in the week another uniquely American experience, baseball. To get started, I would like to introduce our co-chair, Gil Wernovsky. Gil and I have collaborated and worked together on this meeting since 2009. Gil had extra tickets to go to the Super Bowl. We went together, and at that meeting we discussed putting in a bid to try to host the World Congress in the continental United States. It had never been here before. So at the Super Bowl, over a beverage, we decided that this would be a good idea. And I had known Gil for about 20 years before that, and I've spent a huge, massive amount of time with Gil over the last 14 years. And as I call Gil up to the stage, here what I would say. Gil Wernovsky represents everything that is good in medicine. Gil Wernovsky represents everything that is good in science. Gil Wernovsky represents everything that's good in humanity and everything that's good in friendship. And the opportunity for me to partner with Gil through the various ups and downs of life to get to this point has been one of the highlights of my life. I'd like to ask everybody to welcome Gil to the podium to get us started.
Hey, this is great. I have the best view in the house. Just give me a second. Nice. I've been waiting 14 years to do that. And 8 months. Every time I put a number in the slides, it goes up. And we are so happy that so many of you have come to Washington, D.C. for this event. I can't thank this group of people enough. This has been an incredible team effort, and as Jeff said, lots of ups and downs, lots of things that have gone on in our personal lives and professional lives. And to look out in this audience and to see so many people from so many countries and so many programs is incredibly humbling. I can't thank you all enough for us to be here. We've got 4.5 days of just tremendous stuff. I hope we all have fun. I hope we get to meet new friends and stay with new friends. When we started this out, we put out a vision. The vision was to improve the global standard for pediatric and congenital care. And to do that, we thought it would be a good idea to organize the most comprehensive scientific forum ever convened for this patient population and all of us, and to improve the duration and the quality of life for neonates, infants, and children and adults that are born with pediatric or congenital cardiovascular disease at any age. We set off a number of core values, which included economic, ethnic, gender, and geographic diversity, not only of the faculty, but of all of you. Advocacy for patients and their families across the globe at the educational, institutional, governmental, and economic levels. Training the next generation, seamless sharing of best practices while we're here, and as we do our job to have both interdisciplinary and interinstitutional collaboration. And as I hope I'll show you, I think we hit the mark in all of these things. We've had a few other goals as well to create this most technologically advanced state-of-the-art World Congress to date, and a scientific program that is unique. And along these lines, I think Coop is going to talk about this, but please be sure you stop in Digital Futures and the Multidimensional Anatomy Lab. It's just fantastic. To bring together non-governmental organizations and patient and family advocacy groups in a global village, with Dr. Jacobs will share with you, and to have improved and sustainable access to patient care. To use the scientific presentations to create enduring materials, and I'm happy to announce that we've been able to obtain funding so that roughly 2/3 of the course content you'll hear about tonight will be recorded and be available free of charge to the world. It is an expensive conference. We recognize that. There's been COVID, there's been inflation, but we're proud to say if we adjust for that and we count the number of contact hours of our long meeting, that we've been able to not raise the registration fees per contact hour, as well as some other things you'll hear about lately, and importantly, to greatly discount registration fees and encourage attendance from around the world. You can't have a World Congress with people from low and low middle income countries that can't come. So we're glad that we can show you some of that information now. I do want to go through the demographics. That number was correct about a week ago. It's up to about, I think we're over almost 5,700 people that are here that have signed up one way or another. They represent people from 117 countries, most of which is in the Western Hemisphere. You can see in Central America, South America. Really happy that there's 137 people here from the continent of Africa and over 70 of them from sub-Saharan Africa. There are 136 people here from the Middle East. There are 321 from Asia. There are 357 from Oceania. And in Europe, almost 500 have come. This is a relatively easier conference for us here in the United States to come. We're densely populated, and even without the United States, this is one of the largest World Congresses that we've ever had. So I want to thank all of you for making the trip. This might be my favorite slide because you can't read any of that, because it's so incredible how many countries are represented here. We've asked people what they are coming here for, and you can see this wide distribution of general pediatric cardiology, subspecialty pediatric cardiology, a large collection of cardiac surgeons, and all of us, and all of the people who help us take care of these babies, and in particular, a large group of parents and patients and other advocacy groups. In terms of our goal for diversity, you can see we have roughly 50-50 male-female ratio of faculty, and there's about 1/3 of us who are early in practice, and we love seeing our junior faculty members up on stage. Does that mean I'm old in practice? I don't know. Non-U.S. faculty come from a lot of countries as well. Dave Goldberg and Kurt Schumacher had a Herculean task of reviewing nearly 3,000 abstracts and sending them out to our group. They're from all over the world. It's just fantastic. That's my abstract. I just want to tell you a little bit about what's happening on Thursday. The 17 tracks on the left are each having their own competition, so to speak. You'll all get an app to use, and you'll all be able to vote for the best, let's say, multimodal imaging abstract. And at the end of that session, they each have 8 minutes to talk. There will be a 3rd place, a 2nd place, and a 1st place winner. So we'll have the best 3 abstracts in one of the tracks. That gold medal winner then competes with the other 16. So on Thursday, you will be able to hear the best science across our field in 17 different tracks, and then using the same system on Thursday, we will vote for the best abstract. I can tell you, it'd be unlikely that I would go to the basic and translational science sessions, or that I would go to another one of the sessions I don't usually have in my practice. This will give you an opportunity to see what's going on outside your comfort zone, and I strongly recommend that you go. We have, I think, about 1,374, but my guess is there's quite a few more of you here tonight, so thank you. And with that, I think I have one more slide. In fact, I know I have one more slide. Let me just get that. I want to thank my family, who over the last 10 years have just they've been put through something different. I guess I'll put it that way. And they've been extremely supportive. And Lauren, thanks for being there when we needed it. Okay. So I'm going to turn the podium over to Jeff Jacobs, cardiac surgeon in Gainesville, professor of cardiac surgery at University of Florida. Who's going to sort of go through a few more of the highlights of this meeting before we head off to my colleagues and the rest of the fun stuff. Thank you all very much. Leave the clicker, take your phone.
Yeah. So as I said before, we believe that this is the Olympics of our profession. The reason that we're here is to make life better for our patients and their families. I want to tell you a little bit about the journey that this group went on to get here. A lot of people have asked us about this. We started, like I said, talking about this in 2009. It took a few years to put a plan together. We put together an initial organizing committee. Gil and I had worked with Tina and Mel and Suzanne for many years on meetings in Florida, and we started working with this group and putting a plan together. We came up here to Washington, D.C., amazingly over 10 years ago, and we made a site visit. We were looking at what city in the United States should we host the meeting, and we came up with the thought that if people come from another country and it's the only time that they're in the United States, they should see the capital of our country. And this is a beautiful city, and that's how we chose Washington, D.C. In 2014, we traveled and visited our colleagues in India, and we made a bid. There was over 10 cities that were bidding to host this meeting, and we went and we gave a several-hour presentation about why this should be in the United States, where it had never been, and why it should be in Washington, D.C. So then we made the final three, and there was visits by the steering committee of 3 days each to the 3 final cities. And we were able to go to a Washington Nationals game with the hosts. The owners let us sit in the owner's box to watch the game, and it was really an incredible experience. Me being a big sports fan, it was phenomenal. And you can see in this picture, Jim Wilkinson from Australia, Christopher Hugo Hammond from South Africa, and Krishna Iyer from India, who were the judges. And they came and visited our city to help decide where the next World Congress would be. Then we all flew to Prague in the Czech Republic a year later in 2015. We got these really cool ties, and we got to make a 4-hour presentation to this bid committee about why the meeting should be in Washington, D.C. And on that day, May 20th, 2015, we won the bid and were told that we could host this meeting in 2021. Then we said, now we need to have an executive committee to get the story going and to really put together and plan a meeting. And we rapidly reached out to some of our friends and colleagues, some of the hardest working people I've ever met on earth. Mitch Cohen to lead the scientific program, Dave Cooper to lead finances and industry relations, Katie Dodd to lead not only nursing but all of interdisciplinary collaboration. And over the last 6 or 7 years, this group has spent time together like a family. And we've worked hard, we've had some fights, and I have tremendous, massive respect for the people on this slide and how hard they worked to bring this meeting here. We then expanded our support team beyond Mel and Tina. We brought in Tiffany and Elisa and Tony. And Tony and Elisa and Tiffany have worked countless hours. This group of 10 people has had Zoom phone calls every Sunday for the last year from 7:30 a.m. till sometimes 11:30. And again, this is a group of hardworking people, and I have tremendous respect for their dedication and hard work. So then we planned on doing this in 2021, and obviously we, in March 2020, were hit with a surprise that nobody expected, and that was horrible. So we regrouped and we started having meetings. We would sit around and decide, should we wear a mask at this meeting, should we not? But we met in Washington, D.C., we met in St. Petersburg, and we kind of regrouped, redid the program, and that is finally what brought us, again, this is all of us sitting around the table trying to say, well, what should we keep from the 2021 program for 2023? Mitch, who has worked thousands of hours on this program, got to work thousands more. And that led us to finally having our program together. The World Congress has a beautiful history. There was 3 World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology starting in 1980. There was a World Congress of Pediatric Cardiac Surgery starting in 1988. And then in 1993, for the first time, there was a World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery. And this is the 8th of those World Congresses. The host of several of these World Congresses are in the front rows here. For example, we have Horatio Capelli here, who hosted this meeting in 2005 in Buenos Aires. We have Christopher Hugo Hammond, who hosted this awesome meeting in Cape Town in 2013, and Sertaç Çiçek, who you'll hear from in a little bit, who hosted the meeting in Istanbul. And all of us are proud and honored to bring this meeting to the United States of America. I'd like to acknowledge Jane Somerville, who is shown in this slide, visiting Jamaica on one of our heart surgery missions in Jamaica with the Minister of Health in Jamaica. Jane Somerville is the person who started all of this. She started all of this in 1980 in London at the first World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology, and she has been massively involved in the organization of almost every single World Congress since then, and I think this is probably the first one that she is not in attendance. But I'd like to ask everybody to give a round of applause for Jane Somerville. It is a fact that none of us would be here without Jane. This is our International Steering Committee, most of whom is sitting in the front row. And we'll hear from the chair of this International Steering Committee shortly. But again, I'd like a round of applause for our International Steering Committee. I'd like to talk briefly about advocacy initiatives at the World Congress. One of our fundamental core values was advocacy, is advocacy. Our goal is to advocate for the patients with pediatric and/or congenital heart disease, and to advocate to improve pediatric and congenital cardiac care. And at World Congress, we have a number of advocacy initiatives that I'd like to briefly mention. Before I do that, I'd like to acknowledge the leaders of our advocacy initiatives. Bistra and Amy have worked hundreds and hundreds of hours to put together some of the advocacy initiatives at this meeting. There's going to be lobbying of healthcare leaders in Washington, D.C. during this week. There's a Global Health and Advocacy Village that I'll talk about in a little bit. David Overman is the mayor of Global Health and Advocacy Village. He's also the president of Congenital Heart Surgeon Society, but perhaps being mayor of Global Health and Advocacy Village is even a more important title. I think that these three, again, have done huge and massive work for the concept of advocacy for pediatric and congenital cardiac care, and I'd like a round of applause for these three. The article I just showed was published in the journal Cardiology and the Young and talks about the advocacy initiatives at World Congress, and in that article is a description of the Washington, D.C. World Congress Call to Action. This is a written document that's designed to generate support for pediatric and congenital cardiac care. As of today, it has been signed by 576 individuals and been endorsed by 162 professional societies and organizations with formal endorsement within 64 countries, including some big organizations in the United States, the American Heart Association, the American College of Cardiology, Congenital Heart Surgeon Society, the World Congress has endorsed it, as has the World Society of Pediatric and Congenital Heart Surgery, the World Heart Federation, and dozens of other organizations. This is a QR code. This QR code will take everybody in this room to our call to action. The call to action is there, a description of the call to action is there, the recommendations of this call to action is there. This QR code is also in everybody's meeting bag. It's in the program at a glance. Please scan this QR code, sign the call to action, and support this initiative that's led by Bistra and Amy and Dio. Besides the advocacy initiatives of the call to action, I want to briefly mention another advocacy initiative, Global Health and Advocacy Village. In the exhibit hall, organizations from around the world will gather and share their experiences, research, and knowledge in the field of pediatric and congenital cardiac care. Organizations that include patient and family-led organizations. This is the World Congress, this is the first World Congress that has a large number of patients and family members of patients at the World Congress attending as members, and this is a time to give a round of applause to the patients and families that are here. In Global Health and Advocacy Villages, a number of organizations dedicated to medical and surgical missions, non-governmental organizations dedicated to global health and capacity, and non-governmental organizations dedicated to advocacy. These organizations represent 37 countries. There's 96 organizations that will be there. All of you who paid registration to come to this meeting helped fund all of these people to be here for free, to interact and to collaborate to find strategies to globally improve pediatric and congenital cardiac care. So thank you for supporting all of these people to be here. As Gil mentioned, we've created a number of endurable materials. I don't know that endurable is actually a word. It maybe should be enduring materials, but it's the same concept. All of the abstracts from this meeting will be published for free with gold open access within Cardiology in the Young as a donation from Cambridge University Press. Authors that present at this meeting and speakers have the option of submitting their work to either of the two journals on this screen for publication after peer review. As Gil mentioned, the landmark lectures and over 2/3 of the total didactic content of this meeting will be recorded and will be given for free to Hart University and the World University of Pediatric and Congenital Heart Surgery, so anybody in the world who is not in Washington, D.C. will have access to this content. And finally, I want to mention one other initiative that is an endurable material that was created by several of my friends, which is the IPCCC ICD-11 Congenital Heart Atlas. The first Congenital Heart Atlas was in 1936 by Maud Abbott. Nomenclature continued to be debated, and in 1990s and 2000s, more pediatric and congenital heart nomenclature was published in the Annals of Thoracic Surgery and Cardiology in the Young. At this meeting in 2001, there was an International Nomenclature Summit. At the Third World Congress, it was the first International Nomenclature Summit. A group of people got together and said, we are going to solve once and for all what to call the different lesions within the congenitally malformed heart. This is all those people at this meeting, May 21st, 2001. At least 3/4 of those people are in this room today. Several of those people are speaking at this meeting. That's all of their names. I think most of you recognize a lot of these people. Many of them are here. Although the goal was to solve this at that meeting or within a year, it's been a process that's taken a long, long time. I'd like to acknowledge Professor Bob Anderson and Richard Van Praag for their tremendous contributions. And I'd also like to acknowledge Paul Weinberg, who is not with us, but who made great contributions. All of us miss Paul. I miss Paul. My family misses Paul. Last year, the unified nomenclature of clinical and administrative nomenclature was published jointly in the World Journal and in Cardiology in the Young. This is a unification of the International Classification of Diseases, ICD-11, with clinical nomenclature. And that nomenclature has now been translated into a virtual heart atlas, where anybody, for free of charge, can go to the website at that hashtag and see all of the 300+ terms in ICD-11, see their morphology, their echocardiograms, their angiograms, their intraoperative photos, their CT scans, for free for the world from the Nomenclature Society. And that's another piece of endurable material from this meeting that we're very proud of. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues who have done all this work. This is a picture of the group in 2001, and again in Montreal at the Maud Abbott Museum in 2019. I'd also like to point out that one of the core values of this meeting that Gil mentioned is diversity. And if we look at these two pictures, I think the lesson is we're getting a lot better, but we have a long way to go. I'd like to point out that we have international seminars that will take place Thursday, August 31st from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. from all of these organizations listed on this slide. I'm not going to read them all, but they represent every continent. These organizations will host meetings for 90 minutes where they will talk about the work that they do. They will talk about the contributions that they've made, and many of them will do this in their own languages. So we welcome our international guests, and we're honored to have our international seminars. I'll finish this up by saying that the World Society of Pediatric and Congenital Heart Surgery has planned the surgical track in collaboration with multiple continental surgical organizations, including the Society of Thoracic Surgeons, American Association for Thoracic Surgery, Congenital Heart Surgeons Association, EACTS, and a variety of other continental organizations. This is all the groups listed from the different continents that planned the surgical track, and that's the leaders of the Surgical Scientific Committee, Jim Kirkland, Christo Travenkov, and Giovanni. Finally, I'd like to say World Congress has always been very important to me and my family. This is my kids who are now in college in Australia at the World Congress hosted by Jim Wilkinson in 2009. This is 4 years later in South Africa in 2013. I'd like to thank my wife and my family for tolerating a lot of craziness to get to this point, and I'm blessed to have a great family. We're here to make the lives better for our patients and our families. I'd like to thank my partner, Mark Bleiweiss, who has given me the opportunity to do this and who has supported me thick and thin. He's a good surgeon and a good man. And I'd like to again say that while we're here, we want to share with you many uniquely American activities. Thursday night, you'll see our baseball. Tonight, you're going to see one of the greatest jazz bands in the world, and we're very proud of that. With that, I'd like to call my colleague and partner, Sertac Cicek, to the stage. This is our International Steering Committee. There is Sertac. And this is Sertac hosting some international meetings in Istanbul. I would say Sertac is a great man, a great surgeon, a great friend, and a true leader in our field. He's the chair of our steering committee. And ladies and gentlemen, Sertac Cicek will give us the official welcome to World Congress and open our meeting officially.
Thank you, Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, let me begin by expressing my gratitude for the opportunity and honor to address such a distinguished guest. 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery was scheduled to take place in 2021. However, we recently have lived a crisis like no other. The COVID pandemic has sent shockwaves throughout the world. People were worried about their lives and livelihoods, and this eventually led to cancellation and postponement of many meetings. Finally, after 2 years of waiting, we are all together here in Washington, D.C. It is a mammoth task to ensure the scientific content and logistics to be delivered with an outstanding professionalism. It has taken countless hours, sleepless days, and at least 6 years of the organizers, and most importantly, their families, to perfect this 1 week. However, I believe the impact will be forever. On behalf of the steering committee, I extend my greatest appreciation and thanks to Congress chairs, my friends Jeff Jacobs and Gil Warnowski, and all members of the organizing and scientific committees, whom I cannot name in person, and most importantly, to their families for the dedication and sacrifice. The World Congresses have been successful in bringing together delegates from many countries across very different healthcare environments for stimulating educational meetings where individuals can network and learn from each other. It has been effective in fostering a collegial spirit between the many specialties involved in children's heart health, providing a wide range of opportunities for trainees and established practitioners to upgrade skills, cooperate, and collaborate for the good of children with cardiac diseases around the world. More than 5,000 delegates to this conference represents all the continents and over 110 countries. All the pediatric cardiac specialties, physicians, trainees, medical students, nurses, administrators, and perfusionists. I believe you have brought with you the ideas, views, opinions, passion, and the commitment to our profession from across the globe. And most importantly, you have brought the concerns of every child born with heart disease and their parents to have access to the best medical care available. The dramatic improvement in outcome for newborns, infants, and children with heart diseases is one of the success stories of modern medicine. Much of this is attributed to the progress in technology and a tremendous growth in knowledge in these specialties in the last 50 years. However, we still have been facing a tremendous problem of over thousands of babies who die each year from a congenital cardiac anomaly in the neonatal period. More than 90% are not offered the care that has been available over the past half century and that has allowed cardiac surgeons and cardiologists to save countless lives, very often with fairly simple measures. This meeting will also be remembered with a historic call to action to reduce the burden of pediatric heart diseases. As I bring my speech to close, it has been a great honor and privilege, which I will keep for the rest of my life, serving as the chairman of the steering committee. I once again extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to my colleagues in the organizing, scientific, and program committees. Their dedication and hard work is beyond any recognition. Most importantly, I would like to thank you all for coming to Washington, D.C. to attend such a historic meeting. Without further ado, I officially open 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery. Thank you.
Thanks, Sertac. I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Ayanna Bennett, who's the acting director of the Department of Health here in D.C. She's a healthcare advocate and a public health executive with more than 20 years of experience in clinical practice, as well as clinical service design, system integration, and quality improvement. We've been able to bring her to D.C. from the West Coast, where she served as the Chief Health Equity Officer and Director of the San Francisco Department of Public Health Office of Health Equity, where she focused on quality improvements and sustaining systemic change through policy development. When I was looking through her bio, and then I was thinking she would be the best person to come and speak with us from the DC Department of Health, and then I saw at the end of her initials, Fellow of the American Academy of Pediatrics. And I knew that she would be the right person to speak with us. She holds a Bachelor of Arts from Stanford, a Master's of Science from the School of Public Health at University of California, Berkeley, and a pediatric residency and a Doctorate of Medicine from the University of California, San Francisco. So I'm pleased to welcome up to the stage Dr. Ayanna Bennett.
My goodness. I've been to a lot of conferences. I have to say, they are not this fancy. They are not. And I am enormously impressed. I have the easiest job in the room. I am given the privilege of welcoming you all to this beautiful capital of our nation. You have seen many beautiful pictures, and I'm hoping that this welcome will inspire you to do some of that. So on behalf of Mayor Muriel Bowser and myself, Dr. Ayanna Bennett, the Acting Director of Health, I want to welcome you to DC and to hope that you see in this city a little microcosm of all that you have set yourselves out to do. I am the grateful beneficiary over my entire career of your work. You have really shepherded kids through the dark forest, and then I got to receive them as delightful little babies and toddlers and watch them grow up. You can see there's a little gray there. I actually got to watch them grow all the way up, unfortunately. I want to be sure that you hear that from us who are not necessarily part of your cardiology group, but those children do come into the rest of the world of healthcare and grow up in a world that I hope receives them. One thing I know as a public health leader is that we are benefiting from your work, but then not necessarily doing everything we can to make sure that those hearts that you saved are protected for the rest of their lives. So I want to give you back a commitment for the one that you've done, that we are trying our very best to make sure that those children that you deliver to us live healthy lives. We are working on heart disease very hard in this area of the country. We recognize we have lots of disparities that we want to solve. We have solved some of them to some degree. We have brought smoking down from 20% a decade ago to now less than 10. We have gotten our heart attack rates down. So we are trying very hard, and I'm hoping that we can take the lessons that you have shown us in terms of equity and making sure that access is being shared across, regardless of race or income level, and show that we can make the access to the ongoing care the same. Thank you very much for coming here. I am very impressed with all that you've done in this amazing conference, and I hope that you enjoy the city. I will give you one last thing. I have only been here about a month, and I have my list of things to do in DC that I have not quite done, and I am going to let you borrow it. So yes, go to the Nationals game. Yes, do try to listen to some jazz, but then get out of the building. I want to see that we have got lots of beautiful restaurants. It's my challenge to get to one of them that is not one of the ones on the list that regular people know about. I want to get to one of those that people don't know about. But we have a lot of five-star, beautiful restaurants. Please go to one. The monuments are amazing. Please do go to the National Archives, see the Constitution, do the things that you would otherwise not get to do in the US. So the nation's capital has much to offer you, and I hope that you leave this beautiful building to see it at some point. Thank you very much for being here.
I have a great job. I get to introduce one of my best friends in the world, Dr. Mitchell Cohen, who's the chair of cardiology at Inova L.J. Murphy Children's Hospital, and also the co-director of the Heart Center, who's been our scientific chair, and he'll tell you what to look forward to.
I think we probably have to turn the slides back on. This is how much I'm loved. Let me just start there. Yep. All right. I don't have my... They're not playing on the... There we go. I'm going to go back. I'll do it. Okay. So when I agreed to do this a long time ago, the plan from Gil and Jeff was we're going to kind of keep it simple. We're going to have about 400 faculty, not more than 1,000 talks. And so we did all that. And then I got done, and COVID came, and that went right in the trash. And then we sort of started all over again, and we started at version 2.0, and we got all the way up to version 99.9. And so somebody once asked me, this is sort of us. We started in Barcelona, a lot of side trips to St. Pete, DC. At the time, Gil and I were not even living in the same city, and then kind of both moved to the same city. This has been an incredible ride. The five of us have known each other for more than 25 to 30 years. We've pushed each other, we've argued, we've collaborated, and we think we came up with something really special. So somebody once asked me, what was this like? And I sort of felt that this was what it was like. This is a German pro surfer who set the world record for riding a 115-foot wave off the Agavri coast last year. And I can tell you, I felt like this many a day. And I'm not so sure I survived some of these rides. So I think none of this can happen without all of the track chairs and the committee members. This was not me coming up with the scientific program. These were all the track chairs. We had all of these committees: ACHD, neonatal, administration, cardiac cath, multimodal imaging, advocacy, AI and big data, echo, neurodevelopment, EP, nursing, anesthesia, basic science, fetal, perfusion, pulmonary hypertension, global, cardiac, rheumatic, QI, cardiac ICU, cardiac surgery. You know where I put cardiac surgery, but that's a separate issue. Heart failure, transplant. So these are all the track chairs, and each one of them was fantastic and helped sort of build the program. But within the track chairs, this was the scientific program committee from everybody around the world. We made sure that we had gender, we had geographic diversity, so that everybody was bringing something different to the table. And with that, we sort of came up with a program that has about 1,000 faculty and about 2,600 different talks throughout the meeting. If you just sort of contemplate that for 1 second, that is an incredible sort of program to just kind of put together. But I'm still missing a pediatric cardiologist from Antarctica, and I think when we get to Hong Kong, we'll sort of see if we can find one, then we'll really be complete. So a big thank you to the entire track chairs and scientific committee for sort of really kind of putting together an amazing program. So if you sort of say, well, what does the average day look like? And this is kind of just a gestalt of what the average, there's breakfast symposiums that are starting at 6:30. There's going to be landmark lectures, 7:30 to 9:15, with a couple of breakout sessions Wednesday and Thursday. The landmark lectures are going to be starting at 8 o'clock. But that'll all be in the calendar. There's going to be a break for an hour. We encourage you to visit the exhibits. Coop's going to talk about that. 10:15 to 12:30, there's going to be about 12 to 17 simultaneous sessions. There's going to be a lunch break, but during the lunch break, there's going to be about 4 to 5 simultaneous sessions. You can visit the posters at that point. And then the afternoon is almost a palindrome of what the beginning part of the day looked like. Between 2 o'clock and 4:15, there's going to be another 12 to 17 sessions. Between 4:15 and 4:30, another break. And then between 4:30 and 6:30, about 4 to 6 plenary sessions. And then there's dinner symposiums Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evening. And those people have signed up for by and large. So I want to thank 2 particular people. And I probably will get a little emotional about both of them. But the first person is somebody who I've known for 30 years, who we push each other. We've done the CHOP program together. We've done Miami programs together. We've done World Congress in Barcelona together. We've done World Congress now here, and that is Gil. And I think the 2 of us together have created something really special along with Katie, Jeff, and Coop. But I think that Gil and I living in the same city, getting together, pushing each other, changing the program, adding things. This is pretty special, and Gil's a pretty special person to me, but I will tell you there's one thing I never want to hear Gil say to me is, I have a great idea. I'm sort of done with that. The other person goes without saying, and that is my wife. She has watched me get up almost every Saturday and Sunday at 5 a.m. for the last 2 years. With her only response is, don't wake me and please get me coffee when you get up. We've been interrupted on vacations. I've gotten emails, texts, no matter where we're at the Kennedy Center, watching a show, out to dinner, and she just sort of wrote with it. And sweetie, I do love you, so thank you. But I will make it a little humorous. For my colleagues at Inova, they've sort of have watched me and they've supported me for the last year as I kind of did this. And I would get done an ablation, I would open up my phone or my email, and there'd be about 50 or 60 different emails, text messages, and I thought I would come up with the best emails or text messages that I've gotten in sort of just to lighten up this mood here. Should I fly into Reagan or Dulles? I don't know, you pick. Where's the best place to play golf during the meeting? Please stop the social media propaganda. Estará serviendo el desayuno. Yes, I personally will be serving breakfast every morning. I'm staying at the Conrad. Just come to the hotel. I'm sure I could make you something. I uploaded my abstract in the first 7 authors. I'm having a hard time uploading the other 11 authors. There's going to be a march on Sunday in DC. There's a march every Sunday in DC. Should I take Uber, Lyft, or the Metro from the airport? Thursday night is the closing social event. This is an event that I'm very grateful that my hospital, Inova, has sponsored. For those of you who have purchased tickets, you can pick them up at the Inova booth on Wednesday and Thursday. They'll be there along with the Metro Pass and whatever food ticket you have, which you can use at any of the kiosks. There's about 300 extra baseball tickets, so if you want a baseball ticket and you didn't get one, just show up at the Inova booth. We'll probably just limit it to 4 people just so we can sort of spread it out. We look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you.
Mitch Cohen's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. He works like a dog, and I think everybody should clap for how hard he works one more time. The next up is Dave Cooper, who's going to talk about the components of the meeting that Dave led. I've been lucky and honored and privileged to have a chance to collaborate with Cooper for close to 20 years. Clinically, academically, in the United States and in Jamaica. And Dave's done a great job at this meeting, organizing a variety of tasks and making sure the finances all add up. Dave's getting his MBA, but I think after this meeting, he probably could teach how to get an MBA. So I call to the podium super duper Dave Cooper.
All right, so So I really had the privilege to work with these wonderful people and take on the task of finances, industry relations, and institutional liaison. I think it was Joe Biden that said, no budget, no mission. So we were thankfully endorsed by these 51 international scientific societies, quite numerous and large, and you can see a lot of the big players internationally, which meant a lot to give credibility to the Congress, a number of whom you'll see in the exhibit hall. So my biggest fear really was that I was going to go to jail because at the end of the day, budgets had to be paid and bills came about. And different than probably, that most people may not know, different than any other meeting, the World Congress has no bank. There is no big society or children's hospital or other that endorses how the bills get paid. And so there was, and as people know, I would not do very well in jail, that we needed ways to fund the meeting. And so it was really a team effort to get this done. And a lot of people worked for free, including Tina Manis, Melody Farrar, Tony and Elisa Stewart, who are the meeting managers here, who deserve an endless amount of applause and accolades for pulling this off. And they were kind enough to actually defer payment because, of course, we had no money until we were able to raise funds. So they were really key and instrumental in pulling this off. So here are our 66 institutional partners who helped underwrite the World Congress. About half of these partners gave money up front that allowed Jeff and Gil to seek the bid because, of course, all the things that they needed to make the bid, video, and preparations and travel had to be funded. And it was these 30 of these institutions that let the seed money to allow that to happen. And so we're really grateful for all of your participation. Likewise, it was a brilliant move to seek out societal partners and have them embed their meetings within the World Congress. Part of our success here was that we tried to eliminate competitive meetings. We wanted a one-stop shop for everybody to come and hear about all the latest in cardiovascular care, and these societal partners embedded their annual meetings within the structure of the World Congress. So we're really appreciative of that, and you can see by the fairly diverse and monumentous program that that strategy was a rousing success. Additionally, we have educational partners you can see here depicted on the slide. The Congenital Cardiology Today produced the wonderful program at a glance that everybody was able to pick up. Cardiology in the Young is the official journal of the 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery. And Heart University out of Cincinnati Children's and the World University for Pediatric and Congenital Heart Surgery will be hosting the enduring materials that Jeff and Gil mentioned earlier today. In addition to the standard fare, we have two really unique opportunities that I would highly encourage you to attend. The first of its kind multidimensional cardiac anatomy lab was led by Dr. Justin Treader, who is at Cleveland Clinic, and Dr. Shelby Cuddy, who is at Johns Hopkins. This multidimensional cardiac anatomy lab will be open throughout the World Congress and feature hands-on sessions with heart specimens led by Diane Spicer, 3D and 4D imaging and reconstructions using various vendor software and augmented and virtual reality, scheduled demonstrations and presentations from global experts in anatomy, morphology, imaging, and surgery, and opportunities to explore surgical simulation with expert-guided instructions covering common surgical repairs and congenital heart disease. The second is Digital Futures and Emerging Technologies. This was co-developed by Dr. Ryan Moore from Cincinnati Children's and Dr. Rena Ghosh from Boston Children's. This is the first of a kind event here. Again, will also be open throughout the World Congress, featuring interactive experience for participants to test and try the latest cutting-edge technology, AR, VR, the surgical metaverse, gamification. Who knew I could put playing video games as a teenager, it could turn into something successful like this. Hands-on sessions with academic centers and tech industry partners, and scheduled demonstrations and presentations from global experts. So people said, well, Cooper, how were we able to raise money for this to be so successful? Well, here was a simple and easy approach.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it what you would mean it, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
No. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother. But you got to yell that shit.
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell.
Show me the money.
My admin was very disturbed. And, certainly there is no solo effort. I really want to thank the Finance Committee that was led by Lindsay Justice from Cincinnati Children's, Mike Fundura from Atlanta, and Sri Deshpande from Children's National. They really did a lot of yeoman's work that allowed the massive exhibit hall that you're going to see, so I really encourage you to go see the sponsors that helped endorse and make this meeting possible. So a big thank you to our sponsors depicted here. Likewise, the PIC Society partnered with us and have an in conjunction with meeting the live, PICS Live, which is going to go on during the morning during this week. And they also were responsible for the cardiac catheterization track within the World Congress. And we'd like to thank the PICS Society for their contributions and the PICS sponsors depicted here. So a big round of applause for our sponsors. The mobile app, sponsored by Mezion. Here's the QR codes for you to use. This was a Herculean effort led by Tony Stewart. I've already heard amazing compliments from a lot of folks about how well the app is working, so we appreciate all of those efforts. Please download it. Once it's downloaded, search for WCPCCS 2023 and download it. And to get the most out of the app, log in with the email address that you used to register for the World Congress. One more time, here are the QR codes if you already haven't done so. This is a massive program, and if you want to navigate it, this is the best way to do it. We'd like to thank Edwards Life Sciences for the Wi-Fi. Everyone should have found the Wi-Fi by now. And remember that the password is case sensitive. A shout out to our colleagues in Hong Kong 2025. Big thank you to Children's National for sponsoring the opening ceremony reception that everyone enjoyed before coming into the hall. It's greatly appreciated. And lastly, continuing education credits. So watch for an email to be sent on Thursday, August 31st to all attendees with a link to the World Congress Program Evaluation Survey, and you need to claim credit. Don't expect it before then. You're going to get it at the very end. If you need continuing education credits of all kinds, follow the instructions. There's 3 simple things. Complete the World Congress Program Evaluation, attest to the hours each day that you attended, and we won't know whether you lied or not, and an email including your certificate will be sent when steps 1 and 2 are completed and not before. So I now will pass this over back to Jeff.
I've truly never met anybody like Super Duper Dave Cooper. He's a unique character, but he raised millions of dollars so we could all be here. And before we move on, I want to thank Dave for that. Katie Dodds was in charge of the nursing track and the interdisciplinary track, and she has really hit a home run with this. This was on Saturday at the nursing session, which was standing room only, a room jam-packed full of people. There's Katie at the front of the room leading the show. She's created a wonderful, truly awesome nursing track, which is one of our core missions, was to expand this program for our nurses, which was very important to all of us on the stage. I'd like to welcome Katie to the stage to talk about the efforts that she's done in the nursing track.
Thank you, Jeff, for that lovely introduction. I am honored to be part of the team on this stage and to bring to the World Congress the voice of nursing and the interdisciplinary team. The specialized nursing track at the 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery is extensive, it's comprehensive, and it's interdisciplinary. Our faculty includes nursing experts from around the world. It also includes our patients, their parents, and interdisciplinary team members. We started off with a 2-day Nursing Congenital Heart Disease Academy yesterday and today, with over 160 nurses attending the academy. We have, thank you. And ended with an incredible VR session this afternoon. Huge thank you. We have 2 nursing oral abstract sessions at this meeting. IRB approved nursing science on Tuesday and nursing clinical inquiry, our quality improvement work and evidence-based practice work on Wednesday. I am so grateful to be part of this incredible nursing team and so very thankful to all of them, especially to Sandy Stavesky and to Cecilia St. George Hislop. Thank you, all of you, on the nursing track. There are over 800 nurses at this meeting. 800 nurses. These nurses represent all aspects of pediatric cardiac nursing. I think I can safely say this is the largest gathering of pediatric cardiac nurses ever. Every day of this program brings something special and not to be missed. Download it on that app and save all of these sessions into your schedule. One of the highlights is this session, Conversations with Our Nursing Giants. We stand on the shoulders of these nursing scientists. We are incredibly grateful for their work. Bring your coffee on Wednesday morning. Stay in your pajamas, I don't care, but do not miss this session. At the end of your day on Wednesday, please join us at the nursing reception if you're a nurse. The 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery Nursing Reception will be Wednesday evening from 5 to 6 at the Grand Hyatt. We are grateful to the Society of Pediatric Cardiovascular Nurses and to the 15 institutions listed here for making this nursing reception possible for nurses at the World Congress. A huge thank you to all of them. In case you didn't understand what Dave was talking about, if you need continuing education credits, remember the email won't come until Thursday. When you get the email, follow the simple instructions. Complete the survey, attest to the hours on each day, and give us your email if you need a certificate so that we can email that to you. The Children's Chorus of Washington is joining us tonight. This chorus is internationally recognized and critically acclaimed for their outstanding artistry. Each year, over 250 students in grades K through 12 in the greater Washington area benefit directly from the CCW instruction and the opportunities that they provide to perform in auditioned ensembles. The CCW collaborates with leading arts organizations and with artists and maintains an active performance schedule and reaches thousands of audience members in marquee and neighborhood venues across Washington, D.C. and beyond, including most recently Carnegie Hall. Founded in 1995 by Joan Gregory, the Children's Chorus of Washington is now under the artistic leadership of Margaret Nomura Clark. My grandmother taught me that life is about moments we remember, moments of joy and inspiration. We hope that this 8th World Congress is a moment for all of you. I know that you're about to have a moment provided by the Children's Chorus of Washington. Please welcome the Children's Chorus of Washington.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for inviting us to the 8th World Pediatric Cardiology Conference. We'll be performing 3 songs for you tonight.
The first song we will be singing for you is in Hebrew and is called Al Shosha Devarim. The text means, the world is sustained by 3 things, by truth, by justice, and by peace.
Devarim haolam
Wishes Had Wings is inspired by the story of Sadako Sasaki, a girl living in Hiroshima who contracted leukemia from the radiation from the dropping of the atomic bomb. She heard a Japanese legend that if you fold 1,000 origami cranes, your wish will be granted, and her wish was to be healthy. She folded over 1,000, but sadly her wish did not come true, and she passed away. After she was gone, her friends gave out the cranes to different countries to spread peace. In this song, we sing peace in 20 different languages.
If wishes had wings, they rise. If wishes had wings, they fill the sky with hopes, with dreams, and all the luminous things. They'd run to the trees and they'd sing of peace. When a child sings, a wish gets wings. And when the wish takes flight, the world sees that a wish with wings is a small fleeting thing that carries the seed of peace. Let's give wings to our wishes and fly to our dreams. Fill the sky with hope and all the luminous things. How does a wish get wings? How does a wish get wings? A wish gets wings when a child sings of peace.
Our last and final song has a message we value and believe. The text is written by Maya Angelou, and she states, "The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition." Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to lift our voices in song. Please enjoy United in Purpose.
The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition.
Wow. They're fantastic. That's fantastic. I want to introduce two people, friends of mine, who've really helped get this meeting to the size that it has, and that's Jill Zender from Children's Health in Dallas. That's the one with the balloon. And Grace Van Leeuwen. I don't know if I said that right, Grace. Grace is from Sidra Medicine in Qatar, and they're going to talk to us about moving forward at this point with our social media efforts.
Hello, thank you, Gil. Grace and I first want to extend our gratitude for the organizing committee trusting us with this task of marketing this meeting to the world, because if you didn't know about it, you can't be here. So we are very grateful that you've trusted us to help with that.
And we'd like to thank everybody that helped us to do that. We have a big team on the marketing committee, and we want to thank everyone that is here today, and even who could not come here but were able to repost, share, like, comment everything that you are doing, send on their WhatsApp group, make people excited the way we are about this meeting. And that's why all of us are here, and for sure we're going to do a lot of great things for our patients when you're back home.
So I just first want to start by saying whoever texted Mitch to stop the social media propaganda, we're the problem, it's us. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. But now we're going to ask you all to help us with our job and continue to post about this meeting for the world. So we're just going to talk quickly about the social media goals for the meeting and hopefully what will extend beyond the meeting. We'll talk about the World Congress social media platforms and just some social media basics for those who maybe aren't familiar with it, but we still invite you to help us post and share. So our goals for this meeting, to create a little fear of missing out. I don't think we actually need to create that. I think that every person in our field that is not here is very much feeling the FOMO. So let's help them feel like they're here and facilitate the connection and community because they can't be here. I know that there are many, many people across the world really that wanted to be here, and I've heard many times that I would love to go to World Congress, but I can't get away because of staffing. So thank you to all of them who stayed behind and let all of us be here. And we want to foster communication and networking for future projects. So something that you post may inspire or excite someone that is watching your post that can't be here. So let's just share for the world what everyone is doing this week. I put this picture up as kind of a joke, but it is true. Each social media outlet has its kind of own cadence and expectations, so just make sure you're posting appropriately for whatever site you're posting on, and that gives a quick explanation. These are all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can use this QR code. Don't stress, you don't have to do it right this second. It's on every subsequent slide, but it will take you directly to all of our social media platforms. So just a few basics. If you are posting something that you hear in a talk that you want to share, that you like, that is exciting, that you think other people should hear, make sure you're acknowledging that individual or institution that is sharing it. The @ symbol on especially X will tag other people, institutions, so try to give credit where credit's due. And as a speaker, if you don't want particular information shared, please say so in advance. And oh, I didn't change that. Xers, please respect that. Hashtags or #, trend keywords or phrases related to whatever you're talking about. Usually if you put hashtag and then type any word that's related to what you're talking about, a trend will show up and you can pick one of them. And we'll go over common hashtags for our field a little bit later. You can reply to discussions. It continues the discussion. It's posted for everyone to see, so if you reply to someone, that person and everyone else will see it. You can retweet or share posts that you see. You don't necessarily have to even say anything about it, but if you see something that someone else has posted that you want to share, just repost that on X. And then the heart means you like something, so use the symbol to show other people that you like their posts or what they had to say. But just remember, whatever you like, whether it's within World Congress or not, does show up for the world to see. So everyone will know if you liked something.
So these are a little bit of hot tips how you guys are going to do that, and we really want you guys to get engaged with that. This is going to, as Jill just told us, this is going really to make people who are back home to know a little bit more about what we are seeing, what we've been learning. So think about it, that's how you're going to put on social media what you would like to tell your colleagues. You know, when something that you see that is very excited, you feel like calling someone to say, can you believe that they're doing this? So that's what you want you to really share with the world. So do this on Lifetime. This is something that is very nice. You see something nice, you don't lose that moment. You can quickly text that on any social media that you are using for that. Use keywords, and whatever the speaker say that is awesome, you can take that quote and post. And something that is very interesting, any data, please post that. Use some pictures of the slides. This is going to make people get more attention to your post. And it's nice to have interaction. So engage your colleagues with the conversations. And whenever you see something on social media that you find that is nice, please engage a conversation with that. This is going to make easier the post to be most seen. And when you repost something or retweet something, give your ideas about that. So it's going to be even more interesting for everybody. And use the proper hashtags that we have. These are some of the hashtags, and this is very important to use this first one. That's how we are going to be able to see what you're sharing or posting about the World Congress. So please, everything that you post, use our hashtags, and you can use all of these other hashtags, whatever is regarding whatever the content that you are posting. And some etiquette, as Jill said, don't forget that whatever you post is going to be there forever. When it's out there, you cannot take it back, even if you delete that. So just be respectful and consistent with your ideas about what you're posting, and you have a little bit more social media etiquette. So again, I invite you to scan this QR code. This is a PDF that has clickable, so you can have all the links to all the social medias. We're happy we have more than 1,000 people in our social media, in each one of the social media platforms. We're very happy for that, so please continue doing that. And let's make this very interactive and to help our colleagues to engage with whatever we are doing here. And about the contest, Jill.
Yes, so we will have a contest. We want you all to post as much as you possibly can, and we can follow the, specifically the hashtag WCPCCS 2023 and see who the top poster is, specifically on X. So if you have not downloaded X, do it now. Send out all of your posts all day, every day, and the top contributor will receive a prize at the end of the conference.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Grace and Jill, for your massively hard work in getting the word out. This next part of the meeting is actually my favorite part of this whole program tonight. I mean, the music was great, and the rest of the music is going to be awesome, but this is a part that will bring us back to why we're here in the first place. And we wanted to have somebody come up and spend a few minutes about why we do what we do and why are we here. And to do that, we thought we would have one of our patients come. Now, before I introduce Matt, I want to share with you some numbers. And this will embarrass our next speaker, but that's okay. In the United States, to get into medical school, a student takes an exam called the MCAT. And that exam, a perfect score, you miss no questions, is a 528. And our next speaker made a 524 out of 528, which if you Google, which I did, if you Google that, it puts you in the 100th percentile. I want to know what 4 questions he missed, but that's a big deal. So the guy coming up here right now is very, very smart. He's also one of our patients who has pediatric and congenital cardiac disease. He'll tell you about that. And listen to what he's got to say, because this is why we do what we do. I'd like to introduce Matt Purley.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak at the 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery. As Dr. Jacobs said, my name is Matthew Purley. I'm a research assistant at the University of Florida Congenital Heart Center, and I'm currently applying to medical school. I'm also an adult congenital heart patient living with repaired transposition of the great arteries. I'm excited to share my story of living with this disease and how it's challenged me, but also inspired me to pursue a career in medicine. So I was born November 3rd, 2000, at which point the arterial switch had become the preferred method for repairing transposition. According to my mom and dad, no one suspected I had a congenital heart defect when I was born. It was after a nurse noticed a blue tint to my lips and fingernails and a pulse ox of 64%, that my healthcare team knew something was wrong. And after a series of tests and imaging, I was diagnosed with transposition. A week later, I had an arterial switch operation performed by Dr. Mark Bleiweiss, who's somewhere over there. There you are. The surgery went off without a hitch, and 17 days later, I was discharged to my family, happy and healthy. Now, growing up with congenital heart disease, even repaired, meant frequent trips to the cardiologist and more echoes than I could count. And for you people in the crowd who have never had an echo, which I'm assuming is the majority, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. They're not very comfortable. So growing up, I didn't really enjoy going to the cardiologist. It was confusing. It was uncomfortable. But as I grew older and I learned more about my condition, I began to appreciate the knowledge and effort that went into taking care of me that my doctors possessed. I played a lot of sports growing up, which looking back is something I took for granted given my condition. But I do believe that one of the true powers of medicine is giving our patients the ability to define themselves beyond their disease or condition. Playing sports helped me do that. One of my silver linings of being a congenital heart patient was my proximity to medicine. From a young age, I got to explore how doctors study the human body and how doctors use their expertise to provide their patients with the tools to improve their lives. It's one of the reasons that I entered college considering a career in medicine. Now let's fast forward to 2021. I was interested in cardiology for what should be obvious reasons. And I knew who Dr. Bleiweiss was. My parents, of course, had told me about him, but I didn't really remember the last time we had met. I was about yay high. So in the spring of 2021, I reached out to Dr. Bleiweiss. I sent him an email asking if there was any chance that I could come to Gainesville and shadow him and his team. And as luck would have it, Dr. Bleiweiss saw my email. And a couple months later, I was down in Gainesville most of the summer at the University of Florida Congenital Heart Center. And it was a life-changing experience. To see the surgeon that saved your life do the same for so many other kids really gave a 20-year-old college student a real sense of perspective as to the impact someone can make when they dedicate their life to helping others. I knew so many of those kids would go out into the world and write their own story the way that I'd written mine. Inspired by what I had seen, I came back to University of Florida a year later, but this time as a research assistant. And over the past year, I've spent time learning more about the field that I owe so much to. And I've had the opportunity to be a part of a team of talented people who are in the process of answering the next wave of questions in congenital heart surgery. And I've met some pretty amazing people along the way. Two of those pictured are Drs. Marcelo Gitene and Dr. Ottavio Gitene, who are the son and grandson, respectively, of Dr. Adib Gitene, who is credited with developing the arterial switch operation. And I'd like to leave you with something that hopefully resonates a little more than just the story of a kid that was born with transposition and grew up to want to be a doctor. I'm 22 years old, and I've grown up in a world where transposition and many other congenital heart defects have defined and effective treatments, and patients around the world are living happy and healthy lives. My dad is 63. He still remembers his mom telling him stories of babies that turned blue in the hospital because nothing could be done for them. He was 15 when Dr. Gitene first performed the first successful arterial switch operation. That was the world he grew up in. The difference between my dad's world and my world is progress. It's progress driven by people who believed that better detection, better treatments, and better outcomes can exist if we challenge ourselves to find them. It's a belief that I share, and it's a belief that all of you likely share. I'm here to remind you that the rewards of that belief and the work that it inspires is healthy patients. Patients like me with stories to tell and lives to live. Thank you.
Tomorrow we're going to start an amazing program that's going to see the latest in arterial switches to AI, to technology, but also at a global level of how we care for kids in underserved and underprivileged researchers. And we're going to learn from each other. We're going to be inspired. We're going to meet colleagues. We're going to meet former students and mentors. We're going to socialize. We're going to network. We're going to have an amazing, amazing time. But we should not lose sight of the fact that there are some individuals, former colleagues, former mentors, leaders, people that inspired us, people that taught us, that are no longer here since the last World Congress. And there's a poem that I heard recently by an English teacher originally from the UK, who subsequently became a corporate executive, that as I was compiling this memorial over the last 5 to 6 months, I came across, and I really wanted to share it before we sort of remember those. The poem, for those of you who've heard it, I apologize, but for those of you who've not, it's called The Dash, and it's probably about 30 years old. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth, and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. Be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? think I only cried about 20 times when I put that together. It's a great pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Stu Berger, who's the Chief of Cardiology at Lurie Children's Northwestern and the founder of Project Atom. Please welcome Stu.
May all of their memories be a blessing. Thank you, Mitchell. And thank you, Joe Block on piano and Abdias Armenteros on tenor saxophone for that beautiful music. That was a piece called Melancholia, written by Duke Ellington. The previous portion of the program is really a very tough act to follow. And in fact, it's an impossible act to follow. In my attempt to transition to the next portion of the program, I would like to show this slide. This is a picture of three people who are heroes to me. Susie Tweddle, Jim Tweddle, and may he rest in peace, and Wynton Marsalis. And I would like this next picture to also serve as a segue or a transition to the next part of the program. Gil and I had the incredible privilege of spending some time with Wynton on Wednesday night. We would love to go ahead and show that video. It is about 13 minutes long, so I'm going to ask Victor to go ahead and run the video. Thank you so very, very much for meeting with Gil and I. We know that you're on tour in Australia, and it really is so wonderful to see you. Good morning. It's 10 in the morning, I think, in Melbourne.
That's right.
In the room where we will show this video on Sunday, there will be over 5,000 people from around the world who take care of neonates, infants, children, adolescents, and even adults with congenital heart disease. This 8th World Congress of Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery is being held for the first time in the continental US. It's in Washington, D.C., the birthplace of Duke Ellington. In all of the previous World Congress meetings, the host country has taken the opportunity to showcase what is unique and special to the particular country, whether it's Argentina, South Africa, Australia, Spain. So we, of course, would love to showcase a unique and important American art form, and we think there's no better American art form to showcase than jazz. And certainly there is no better spokesperson than you. So it has to be said, and I'm going to say it, that we love you, and you have brought so much to the world. You're a great leader, you're a great mentor and role model, you're a great advocate, you're a great friend to all, and a great human being. So thank you, first of all, for being the great, great, great Wynton Marsalis. Thank you for that. So we wanted to get your thoughts on the critically important role. It's true, it's all true.
No, man, let me just say to you, Stu, thank you, Gil. It's a pleasure to be on with you all. And I also want people to know just how long you and I have known each other. We share the same birthday.
Yes, we do.
The date, the 18th of October, and we've been good friends, and the depth of the love and respect that I have for you stretches across these 3 or 4 decades. Well, I can say what it is, but it's a lot of time, you and your family, and you are so exemplary as a doctor and as a human being. And I'm just honored to be here to speak with both of you, and certainly to be with you.
So as a start, we wanted to get your thoughts on the critically important role of jazz in American history, of jazz's influence on life, liberty, hope, freedom, the pursuit of happiness, as well as many other things. So you've already met Gil. Gil will be here with me to ask some questions of you. But please go ahead and give us your thoughts on these issues. Tell us what you think.
Well, the first thing about jazz, if you put it in the context of music around the world, it's an art form that gave more freedom and authority to more people. So if you were an orchestrator or you were someone in the 19th century and you wanted to write pieces, you had to be able to write music, you had to be able to get it notated, published, and then they have musicians to play it. And if I was a trumpet player or a clarinetist, I played pieces by, you take your pick of composers from Beethoven to Mozart to, it doesn't really matter what name you put in. With jazz, each person could now invent their own music and allow their own a very personal and specific feeling and identity to be stamped on the music they made. Now, within a few years of jazz, 15 years of his birth, recordings became possible. And then you were able to hear individual people's way of approaching the same instrument and even the same material. And it was able to teach us, wow, it's true that each person has a definite and definitive imprint, so that Louis Armstrong's version of Body and Soul is not the same as Coleman Hawkins's version of Body and Soul, as Billie Holiday's, or you take your pick of artists. And it allowed us to be touched in so many different types of ways, much like we're touched when we meet different people, different homes we get the chance to go into. And you take the 4 fundamentals of jazz improvisation, it gives you the freedom to be yourself. Swing is you have to figure out how you're gonna negotiate and coordinate your space with other people. And it has an implied respect and a love and all the things that are required for you to be collegial. The blues allows you to survive with optimism when things don't go your way, which they most of the times don't, because just the basic proposition of life is unfair. Many of us, we're not gonna get the job we want, we don't make the money we want, we have relationship problems, we don't have the body we want, we don't XXXXX. We can want forever things, but we get what we get. And we have to learn as we grow in life how to just deal with the fundamental unfairness of what is in actuality opposed to what you project yourself to be out into the world, or to yourself. It doesn't even have to be out in the world. And finally, Afro-Latin music and the use of music with clave that has the Afro-Hispanic tinge, and that is a whole nother form and the specifics of music, but it also has to do with how you incorporate other cultures into your body. And those are the fundamentals of jazz. And they're certainly tools that are useful in whatever we find ourselves having to do.
Yeah, I wanted to have a follow-up question. And again, I want to thank you also, Wenton, for being with us from Australia. You said something before that really touched me, which was the 4 elements of jazz, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember all of them, but it was about finding your own space and collaborating with the people around you, and optimism, I think, in the face of reality, as well as dealing with different cultures. I think
that's it. That's exactly it.
The people that are watching you right now are a group of people that all have their own space. So in the audience are going to be cardiologists and surgeons and nurses and anesthesiologists. And I was struck by what you were saying is sort of like what we do, right? It is the finding your own space, collaborating with people around you, being as optimistic as you possibly can, and dealing with other cultures. It really struck me as a perfect metaphor for what the people in the audience do on a daily basis. This is something I say when I do rounds a lot, and I don't know, I want you to just sort of react to this statement, which is, I do rounds and I'm talking about a baby and I say, well, you know, surgeons are like classical musicians. They practice over and over and over again to get it exactly right and then put their stamp on it. But it's basically the way it was written. But people like Stu and myself and people who work in an intensive care unit, we're more like jazz musicians. Like we get a product and then we have to hear what happened and then sort of respond to that. I know you may have been up at Laurie with Stu or whatever, but what do you think of a statement like that? How do you think there's similarities between what you do, one of the best in the world, and what the group of the people from all around the world do on their daily basis?
Well, you know, I think healers, well, that's life or death. And to be a surgeon or to have it's such a powerful profession. And I think in what you're saying about, improvising, you have no idea what's confronting you. You have to combine your knowledges. And in classical music, it's more like what a composer would do. Mm-hmm. But you have to have both the technical skills and the knowledge of the history and the precedents and the ability to repeat things over and over again, and the hand discipline. And then you have to be able to, the improvisation comes in when you have to access different types of knowledge and combine those knowledges in different ways and find through lines. Oh, I think we used to do this, but this requires this procedure, or this requires, so I think definitely that's what jazz musicians do. But I also think implied in what you said, even though you didn't say it, I could feel it in your voice, is the spiritual element is not by the book. And that spiritual element is ethereal, but it's very palpable. And it's what do you bring to people that allows them to survive? It's the spirit. And that spirit is why we can play a Louis Armstrong solo note for note, but it doesn't sound like him. Because when he brings his experience and his knowledge and his spiritual knowingness to a note, it's not the same note. And I know for surgeons and people who deal with, it can be a nurse, it doesn't even really matter the scale ladder that you're on. People who interface with other human beings who are struggling, to be able to alleviate their suffering and to make them feel things are right, to give them a realistic understanding and a real actual hope. Because human beings are mimetic. We imitate above all else. And we don't just imitate on the level of like motions, if you're trying to get rehabilitate an injury. We imitate in terms of the spirit. Like you can come into a room and I can feel your spirit and I'll be a different person. So I think, yeah, the medical profession is such a heavy profession. I have such respect. And I've had friends that are doctors for years. Of course, I love Stu for years. And what I love is how physicians, they'll jump in there. Like I'll never forget, I was on the stage with Sonny Rollins. I was 21 then, and he passed out. Boom. At first I thought he was joking, but he was not. He literally fell out on the stage of Town Hall. Man, it had to be 4 physicians jumped up there onto the stage, and some of them look a little too old to be jumping up on the stage. They got up there and they were like, hey, you know, we're physicians. And it almost make me get tear up now thinking about it. And I remember looking at them saying, damn, look at these, you know, look at these guys. They were all men. But I thought, look at these guys. Like, they were up there like that. And they were like, hey, we up in here. And the medical profession it's a deep profession.
Thank you very much. It's tough to follow that answer, Winton, but let me ask you one more thing, and I know you got to get going, and again, we're so thankful. You know, and I want to tell you how thrilled we are that Joe Block and his band will be performing for us tonight. And actually, right after we showed this video, and we met Joe the other day, and he was so excited about this. Would you say a few words about this incredible young man and maybe help us with his introduction? And I want to say before you say that, thanks again for doing this. We send our love to you and all the members of the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. Please give everybody a big hug. And thanks again for doing this. Tell us about Joe.
Well, Joe is a kid who was always prodigious, great as a youngster. Actually conducted a high school band that almost won our big band competition. We couldn't figure out who the band director was. They said, hey, it's a kid in the band. He won our arranging and composition competition, wrote an unbelievable composition, became a joint student at Columbia and at Juilliard, the very greatest student we have had in terms of his leadership, his skills, his knowledge, his desire to know things, his skills as an arranger, composer, a player, very crisp, unbelievably intelligent, great accompanist on the piano. And I have just such a deep love for him. The only thing I want to say about Joe is his father doesn't have the proper respect for Bill Russell. And he thinks that Will Chamberlain was better than Russell. So, but you all are in for a treat. Joe is the very finest young person we have to offer.
We're very excited.
You know that his father's a pediatrician, right? In the Philly area.
I know that. That's why I threw him in there.
Well,
he's still wrong about Russell.
Well, he's a Sixers fan, not a Celtics fan. That's why. Yeah, I know. I know. Well, we should let you go unless Gil has anything else to ask. We are forever grateful. We love you. We love the members of the band. Safe travels. Danny, thanks for helping us. And I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you back in New York City. Thank you, Winton. We are indeed in for something very special, and it is an incredible honor and pleasure for me to introduce this. And as you heard, jazz is much more than the music. It is history, it is life, it is America, and it really is all of us. So thank you again, Jazz. Thank you, Winton. Thank you, Jazz at Lincoln Center. It's truly an honor to introduce one of the most exciting young jazz artists of the day, pianist, composer, band leader extraordinaire, and to quote an influential jazz publication, Joe Block generates excitement that emanates from something that is hidden within him, is ready to come into being. He could be compared with the young Herbie Hancock, whose early risk-taking imagination would keep expanding throughout his legendary career. Joe has been nationally recognized by the National Young Arts Foundation and has performed with many esteemed musicians, including Wynton Marsalis, Kurt Rosenwinkel, Eric Alexander, and many, many other greats. We are so excited to have Joe and his great band here to play for us. Welcome to the Future of Jazz Band, directed by Joe Block, curated by the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, Jazz at Lincoln Center, Wynton Marsalis, managing artistic director. Welcome to the band.
Took a hill way up in Harlem. If you miss the A train, you'll find you missed the quickest way to Harlem. Hurry, get on now, it's coming. Don't you hear those rails are thrumming? All aboard, get on the A train. Soon you will be at Sugar Hill in Harlem. You must take the A train to get to Sugar Hill, way up in Harlem. If you miss that A train, you'll find you missed the quickest way to Harlem. Oh, hurry, get on now, it's coming down. You hear those rails are thrumming all aboard. Get on the A train, soon you will be at Sugar Hill in Harlem.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. That's Ikep Nakwele on the vocals. Anthony Hervey on the trumpet. Abdias Armenteros on the saxophone. Damo Branch on the drums. And Felix Moselholm on the bass. We are very honored to be here playing for you all. We feel very deeply special to be here. Thank you, Winton, for the introduction, and we're so excited to be here. We came down from New York this morning on Amtrak, and you guys have been so welcoming towards us, and we're so excited to present the music of Duke Ellington for you. And as Winton said, Duke Ellington was born in Washington, D.C. in 1899, and is one of our great American heroes, and we're so lucky to play his music. That was a song written by his counterpart, Billy Strayhorn, entitled Take the A Train, and that was undoubtedly one of his most famous songs. So if you didn't know it before, now you know it. We're going to continue with another piece that he made famous in 1940. This is entitled Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Thank you.
Missed the Saturday dance. Heard they crowded the floor. Couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club. Got as far as the door. They would have asked me all about you. Don't get around much anymore. Well, darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. But nevertheless, why stir up memories? Being invited on dates just might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore.
Thank you so much. Ekep Nakwele singing for you all tonight. Duke Ellington moved to Harlem and made his band very famous there. But in addition to playing in New York City, his band would go on to travel all over the world, and he became a global ambassador, much like Wynton is today, for jazz music and American ideals all over the world. And additionally, he was very inspired by other cultures. Going back to what Wynton said about that fourth point of incorporating other cultures into the music, a lot of his music was inspired by other countries he visited and other people he knew. And we'd like to play some of that music for you tonight. 1947, Duke Ellington wrote the Liberia Suite, which was written to celebrate Liberian independence, the centennial of that. And my favorite piece from that suite is entitled I Like the Sunrise. It's a beautiful ballad, and we like to play it for you. I Like the Sunrise. Thank you so much.
the sunrise, 'cause it brings a new day. I like the sunrise, it brings new hope, they say. I like the sunrise, blazing in the new sky. Nighttime is weary, oh, and so am I. Every evening I wish upon a star that my brand new bright tomorrow isn't very far. When that heavy blue curtain of night is raised up high, way out of sight, I like the sunrise, so heavenly to see. I like the sunrise, I hope it likes poor me. Every evening when I wish upon a star that my brand new bright tomorrow isn't very far. When that heavy blue curtain of night is raised up high, the sunrise, can't you tell? So heavenly to see. I like the sunrise, I hope it likes poor me.
Thank you very much. to give Kep a little break and feature our wonderful saxophonist, Abdias Armenteros. This next composition is... Can you guys hear? You can. Okay, in 1962, Duke Ellington and his orchestra embarked on a state-sponsored tour throughout the Middle East and South Asia in order to help promote American ideals. And Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie also did this. While on this tour, Duke was exposed to many new sounds and styles and experiences from different countries all over Asia. And the following 3 years after that, Duke Ellington and his counterpart, Billy Strayhorn, who wrote Take the A Train, would compose and workshop another masterpiece called the Far East Suite. And this next piece is inspired by the city of Beirut in Lebanon and is entitled Mount Harissa. Thank you, Mount Harissa. Thank you. Abdias Armenteros on the saxophone. We'd like to thank you for listening to us tonight. We have one more selection for you. It's been quite a pleasure to play for you all, and I'd like to thank everybody on the stage. These musicians they're literally the best in the world, so you guys are really honored to be here as well to hear them. And just going to introduce everybody one more time. From Copenhagen, that's Felix Mosholm on the bass. From Portland, Oregon, Dombo Branch on the drums. We have, our horn players are both from Miami, and I'm not a huge Miami fan, but I'm a fan of them. Abdias Armenteros on the saxophone. Anthony Hervey on the trumpet. And hometown hero from DC, Akep Nikwele, singing for us tonight. We're going to close out with another Duke Ellington classic. This was written by his trombonist, Juan T. Zoll, and it is entitled Caravan. Thank you so much.
And stars above that shine so bright, the mystery of that fading light that shines upon our caravan. Sleep upon my shoulder as we creep across the sand so I may keep the mystery of our caravan. Resting in my arms while I thrill to the Night and stars above that shine so bright, the mystery of that fading light that shines upon our caravan. Sleep upon my shoulder as we creep across the sand, so I may keep the memory of our caravan. This is so exciting. You all are so inviting. Oh, you're resting in my arms while I thrill to the magic charms of you. This my world is coming true within our desert
So one more hand for Joe Block, Future of Jazz Band from Lincoln Center. Thank you all for staying. Tomorrow we start at 7:30 with landmark lectures. Enjoy your dinner, drive safely, tip the waiter and waitress.